Hello, Belen. I'm Theo Rosell.
And I'm Mark Novus. Welcome to this edition of BLN Sports Reel. Today we have a great show for you guys, and we're going to start it off by talking about Miami Hurricanes basketball. So Theo, Miami Hurricanes, they started off their season pretty well. They're 13-2 right now, but suffered a tough loss last night to the Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah, Angel Rodriguez missed 2 clutch free throws late in the game. That would have put us down 1. Those were important. Sheldon McClellan had another really good game, as well as Tony Jakiri.
Yeah, Sheldon McClellan right now is averaging 16 points per game, and he's having a really strong season, and is really showing NBA scouts that he's definitely a contestant on many of their ballots for the draft. We also have Angel Rodriguez with 11 points per game, and Jaquan Newton with 11 points per game. And ever since Jim Larinaga took over a couple years ago, the Miami Hurricanes have really been a contender in the ACC. Right now, after last night's loss, they're in 5th place.
He really has proven to be a really good NCAA coach, especially taking over after Frank Haith, who really did a pitiful job for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season for Miami Hurricanes. They still have some ACC play coming up, and they're hoping to make the tournament. They're 13-2 right now. They were ranked number 8 in the country, but that's going to drop after last night's loss to the Cavaliers. So we're going to send it over to Nano Guerrero to find out what happened this past Monday in the college football playoff.
The College Football National Championship game was this past Monday, and it certainly lived up to all the hype. The matchup was between Alabama Crimson Tide and the Clemson Tigers. Alabama was hungry for a chance at redemption, and Clemson was ready to prove people wrong in this battle. Alabama scored first on a run by Heisman Trophy winner Derrick Henry, but Clemson immediately answered as star quarterback Deshaun Watson connected with walk-on freshman Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow went on to score again, and the score was tied up 14-14 at the half. The key moment in the game was when Clemson's star cornerback Mackenzie Alexander got shaken up and couldn't return. Alabama took advantage late in the game as quarterback Jake Coker found senior O.J. Howard on a couple deep passes. It seemed that every time Clemson was making a comeback, Alabama closed the door. First with a kickoff return touchdown, and then with a couple deep passes. Derrick Henry was held in check, but Alabama showed why they are always a top-tier team, showing their depth and athleticism. That's all for college football playoff. That's all for the College Football National Championship. Now let's see what's going on in the NFL.
The first week of the NFL playoffs is over, and it was filled with excitement, despair, and controversy. The rout was on in Houston as the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the home team Texans 30-0, and the Green Bay Packers defeated the Redskins 35-18. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Bengals in a controversial manner with 2 late flags for a hit against a defenseless receiver on Vontaze Burfict, a Bengals linebacker, and unsportsmanlike conduct on the Bengals cornerback Adam Pac-Man Jones for punching a Steelers coach, which led to a 30-yard gain, placing the Steelers in field goal position for the game-winning field goal. The most unpredictable game of the week was the Vikings versus the Seahawks, which ended in a late-game chip shot for Vikings kicker Blair Walsh, who uncharacteristically missed the 27-yard kick, resulting in a loss for the Vikings and an incredible 10-9 victory for the Seahawks. Your next week matchups will be the Patriots versus the Chiefs and the Broncos versus the Steelers for the AFC, and the Packers versus the Cardinals, and a defensive battle between the Seattle Seahawks and Carolina Panthers in the NFC.
Next up, the Miami Heat. They're 22-16 and second in the East. They put together one great season, and they, especially due to their starting 5, all of them are averaging over 10 points a game. What do you have to comment on them, Mark?
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest factors for the Heat this season is that they're having their starting 5 scoring over 10 points a game. You know, Chris Bosh, it's great to see him coming back after the health issues that he had last season. Dwayne Wade is proving to all the haters and all the critics who've been saying that he's too old to be in the NBA, that he should retire, he shouldn't be there. He's definitely proving them wrong because he's having a great season. And the young guys, Whiteside and Dragic, are really stepping up and playing key roles for the Miami Heat.
Yeah, like you brought up the youth. It's another major aspect for this Heat team. Justice Winslow, our latest draft pick, Tyler Johnson, and Hassan Whiteside. Justice Winslow, lockdown defender, gets rebounds, scrappy player, does what he has to for the team. Tyler Johnson's handling the ball, moving the rock, rising up, fearless. And Hassan Whiteside, one of the most feared centers in the league, especially coming out of nowhere. It's going to be interesting what we do this offseason.
Yeah, as you said, Justice Winslow coming out of Duke, you know, Mike Krzyzewski does a great job with all the players that he puts into the NBA coming out of Duke, one of the greatest basketball programs ever to exist in college basketball. And Hassan Whiteside, he was playing basketball at the YMCA, like in rec leagues before he went to the NBA. So it's pretty crazy to see that the Heat got someone like him, and he's just putting on a show every single night for them.
Yeah, Pat Riley is a genius. Now moving on to another Florida team, the Florida Panthers.
Thanks, guys. The Florida Panthers have been one of the NHL's hottest teams. Now let's catch up with Raul Rodriguez to see just how the Panthers got the job done.
The Florida Panthers are having one of the hottest years in franchise history, producing a 12-game win streak, which is a franchise record. For the Panthers being one of the few NHL teams that has not yet won a Stanley Cup, a 12-win streak was definitely a sight for sore eyes. It all began with a blowout win against the Islanders, and with the Panthers outscoring them 5-1. Since then, the Panthers have not lost a single game, playing some tough opponents, despite losing this past Monday to the Canucks in a close game. The Panthers have been led by 43-year-old star right wing Jaromir Jagr and 36-year-old goalie Roberto Luongo as their two star players. He's been great. He's been a real good presence in the locker room. He's an extremely hard worker on and off the ice, says Luongo about Jagr. Also contributing much for the Panthers are the combined performances of centers Jonathan Huberdeau and Vincent Trocheck. Coach Gerard Gallant said regarding the team, any team in the National Hockey League, they're going to defend their teammates, and that's why we're winning some hockey games. We've got a good team. We've got a good group of guys. Looking forward, the Panthers have a ton of games left in which they'll be facing some pretty talented teams. The current win streak in the NHL history is 17 games, which means they were only 6 games away from putting their names in the history books. Although a record is nice, there is no question that what the Panthers fans wanted is a Stanley Cup, and to do so, the Panthers are going to have to keep playing at their best these last games. For WBLN, I'm Raul Rodriguez.
The Panthers have won 9 of their last 10 and have just come off a 12-game winning streak. The Cats were able to play on such great hockey thanks to the offensive output of Jaromir Jagr, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Alexander Barkov. Jagr had 6 goals and 4 assists throughout the stretch. Huberdeau had 3 goals and 10 assists, and Barkov with a staggering 6 goals and 8 assists. But offense is nothing without a strong defense. Both Roberto Luongo and Al Montoya have been the backbone of the Panthers' defense during these last 12 games. The duo has been known as one of the stingiest goalie pairs in the NHL, allowing only 2.12 goals per game. Now let's take a look at the standings across the league. The Panthers sit atop the Atlantic Division, with the Canadiens and Red Wings following close behind. The Capitals lead the Metropolitan Division, followed by the Rangers and the Islanders. The Dallas Stars lead the Central Division, with the Blackhawks and Blues trailing. The Kings are ahead of the Pacific Division, with the Coyotes and Sharks right on the tail. That's all from me. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, CJ. Well, that about wraps up this edition of WBLN Sports Reel. I'm Mark Novus.
And I'm TJ Roselle. Thanks for watching, and join us next time.